first session today, and I'd like to welcome you all once again. I hope that some of you have attended Raj's keynote earlier. So this session and the sessions following this is going to be about Windows 8 platform and building native applications for Windows 8 using JavaScript, since this whole conference is about JavaScript. So we'll focus more on JavaScript in terms of building native apps. So quickly wanted to introduce my colleagues one more time. So we have Raj, and we have Riju here, and both of them are going to present. Quickly wanted to give the view of agenda. So we have a couple of more sessions which will happen after this. This is going to be an hour kind of talk, so I'm sorry for the delay. We have already missed like 5-6 minutes, so we'll cover up that part. But after this, we have Windows 8 JavaScript with API, Windows WinJS and async, which Riju is going to take. And then we have JavaScript fragment and page navigation and control. So throughout the day, we will talk and cover some of the key parts of building application, native application for Windows 8. And in all of these sessions, we have some cool t-shirts to give away. So we will be asking questions, and really request you to make it more interactive. So don't be shy. Ask questions, or if we ask questions, please answer the questions. And then there is the last one, which is very interesting, which is going to be, the last talk is going to be something wherein you have not seen things. We will be talking about that, and there will be additional Q&A stuff as well. That's the last half an hour. So with that, I'll jump back to my presentation. It's more about building application and also introduction or reintroduction to Windows 8 to some of you. So maybe a quick raise of hand. How many of you have seen Windows 8 before? Oh, most of you. Nice, awesome. And how many of you build apps or tried building application on Windows 8? Some of you, okay, nice. And how about just to relate to it, how many of you build apps for Windows Phone 8? Phone 7, sorry, 8 is going to come. Yeah, right. And one more question around other platforms. So probably building apps for iOS. So we have good number of people, okay. And Android, one more, okay, awesome. Awesome. So we have a good mix, and I hope throughout this day, not just this session, but throughout the day, you will be gaining more experience in terms of building apps, and we will see more on our platform as well. So tools perspective, we have Windows 8 has been reimagined from the operating system perspective. Why not? I mean, just a demo, but I think better to go ahead and showcase the whole thing. The OS itself probably, and then jump into the coding part a little bit, and then come back to store. So I'll talk about all of that in this 50 minutes which I have now. This is a desktop mode of Windows 8. Okay, there are two modes in Windows 8. The first one is a desktop mode, which is the mode which you have already seen, like Windows 7 on and prior to that. And this one is a modern UI mode, or it's also called Windows Store. The apps which they're running on this mode is called Windows Store apps. And the talk which you are going to do or deliver throughout is more focusing on apps building for this platform, the modern UI platform. And there are a couple of reasons why we are focusing on this, because this is the one wherein people will be able to build, anyone can build application which will be running on even a tablet, and the tablet will be having a processor, is going to have a processor of Intel architecture or ARM-based architecture. And you can imagine the ARM-based architecture is actually going to be costing less as compared. So the number of people we're going to reach is a huge number of people. We'll talk about some numbers as well. So I'll give you that perspective. So if you build apps for this platform, for Windows Store apps, you will be able to reach to a max number. If you are able to, if you're building your regular apps, the apps which are or the software which you've built so far for this platform, the desktop mode, you can still continue to do that, but then for ARM devices, those apps will not function, right? So if you want to reach to a number of, huge number of people, I would suggest or recommend, to build store apps. Okay. So coming back to the deck and choice of programming language which you have, we can build application based on using C# and XAML. You can build application using C++ and XAML and C++, and then HTML5 and JavaScript. So the focus is on the last part, as I mentioned, throughout the deck. So this is the technology part from Windows 8 perspective. You can, if you're building coming from a Windows 7 platform, or you have experience with other platforms and you want to relate to it, to this platform, this diagram will give you a clear picture around it. So, the WinForms kind of application, you can still continue to build WinForms, but that will be on the desktop side. Okay. If you are building applications with .NET and XAML, you can continue to do that, and you can build apps for store style, using the C# and XAML. Now, XAML has moved from .NET framework to Windows SDK. Okay. So I'll show that as well in the code. And doing some demos, I'll also talk about it. And HTML5 or JavaScript. So if you're building or if you build apps, web-based kind of application, or if you build for other platforms, you would be able to relate to it. So this is a new engine, JavaScript engine, which has been introduced. It's a native engine which I've introduced in even Visual Studio, which will allow you to build native applications using HTML5 and JavaScript. Okay, and we have WinJS library as well. So we'll quickly talk about that. So we have a couple of new features, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and show that to you quickly. So let's jump into probably demos. So this is going to be a Visual Studio 2012, and let me just mention here. So the tools are absolutely free, and Windows 8. The latest version is called RTM. It's yet to be released. It's going to release on October 26th. Okay, but as a developer, you can download it. You can have it installed for 90 days. It's absolutely free, and the upgrade is also very, very low. It's about 2,500 rupees INR. If you are upgrading it from Windows 7, it's that less. And if you are buying a tablet, or as a consumer, if somebody is buying a tablet, Windows RT version, which is the ARM's Windows 8 version of ARM tablet, will be available, will be licensed, so user can actually go and use it. So let me start with Visual Studio. Now you can see that this machine is actually a Windows 7 machine. I have installed Windows 8 on top of it, and it works, almost like a perfectly fine machine to me. But there are so many, tiles over there, as we call it, tiles, right? A couple of apps here. Now people ask me questions. Yesterday we were at the booth and we were asked questions around so many things. How do we handle really? And so let me show some features. This is a charms bar which I just swiped on the right side. Okay, and I have the t-shirts now, so I'll be asking questions about and probably you can answer. So I have this search thing. Okay, and this search helps me to enable search not within the apps, which is not just for the apps which is installed on the machine, but within the apps which we are building as a developer. So users can actually use the native search mechanism. For now, let me just go ahead and start first Visual Studio 2012. So if I do that, I just type few words and I get to see Visual Studio 2012. So this is the tool you'll be using to build apps for Windows 8. Okay, and this is a tool once. Let me just close this Outlook. Sorry for that. So if you are building Windows apps for Windows Phone 8 platform as well, this is a tool which you'll be using. So we'll go ahead and, how many of you seen Visual Studio before? Most of you. Okay, awesome, brilliant. So I don't have to, probably talk about creating projects and all. So, but I just quickly wanted to say some of the changes which you will find here. So, apart from the basic Visual Basic Language, C#, F#, all of that, we also have now JavaScript. Okay, and under JavaScript we have something called Windows Store. So that Windows Store here means Windows Store apps. Windows Store style application which you're going to build, and when we click on that, we have a couple of templates available. So Visual Studio has always been a tool which makes a developer life easier, and again we see that we have a blank template, grid, split, fixed layout, and navigation kind of application if you want to build. So I will start with a grid app, show some features, and then also talk about some of the tools which you get when you download Visual Studio 2012 on top of the Windows 8 RTM. So Visual Studio 2012, what's the current version? Is it beta? So this is a question for a t-shirt. Maybe anyone can raise a hand. So what's the current version for Windows 2012, Visual Studio 2012? Is it released? Is it in beta? I need a raise of hand. It is released. Welcome. So Visual Studio 2012 was released, I think last month on 12th of September. And interestingly, the release was done first in India because of the time difference. We are ahead of US, so we actually released it in India first, and it was released in US, a couple of hours later. And it's a release version. So now you can download and install full-fledged Visual Studio for 30 days. A complete version, and there is also Express Edition which you can download for free and work on it. So you can build the applications we are going to talk about today. You can build that using Visual Studio 2012. So we have this grid app, and of course you can browse and choose. So since most of you are familiar with that, I am not going to talk about browsing part and all. So we'll just leave it at that. So I'm just naming my app here. Yeah, just name my app. Choose a grid. If you want to access source control, have a common location, you can just click that. Since this is an independent machine, I'll just go ahead and click the app, project over there. So what do we see in the project here? Okay, especially for JavaScript, and I'll also run for C#. For those who are interested, probably a quick part of it maybe. So here we see some of the references. Now the references inside this, all we see is the Windows library for JavaScript 1.0. Okay, this is a new library which has been added, and if you were supposed to do a C#, in fact, let me just do that quickly for you. So I'll open another instance of Visual Studio. Okay, and same time, I'll just quickly go ahead and say find new project for, let's say, C#, and just want to show you again. We have Windows Store, Windows. So this Windows is a regular desktop window application, and Windows Store is the one which you are supposed to build. So let's say I'll choose a grid over here as well, okay, and hit OK. So I just want to show the difference between the kind of library which is being introduced over there, the references. So usually there will be a lot of references introduced in .NET if you build a .NET kind of application, but this is all a native here. So all you see here is .NET because I chose C#, so of course .NET library will be part of it, but only two references. Okay, one is the Windows, the other one is .NET for Windows Store apps. Okay, so these are the only two references introduced, and I'll come back to this, but let me just jump back to JavaScript now. So we saw the references, then we have CSS. Okay, default CSS, and we'll delve deeper into this. So I'll show you some interesting tools which we have now with Visual Studio 2012. Okay, then all the images which are by default, there's the logo, small logo tile for the large tile, small tile. We have different types of tiles. So and in case you want to add your more images for your app, you can use that folder. So you can just drag and drop, simple. We have data, navigator, and default. Okay, and then different pages, and then we have a certificate. So coming to the basic part of the demo. So the whole app actually works like a web kind of application. Okay, the whole app concept, and if, some of you have already built apps for Windows Phone, so you can relate to it. In fact, other platform as well. When you're building an app, so we have app lifecycle. When you start the application, the starting is first of all it starts, and then it's there. App is running. So let me just actually go ahead and maybe search for an app, which is a very nice app. This is a really good app from design perspective. It's been rated top. Now, when I launched this app, the first thing which happened was application launch event. Okay, and then this app is in the front, which means the app is on the main screen and is being used. So the operating system knows, and from the coding perspective, you know that the app is running as of now. It's activated. Okay, but what happens is that okay, so before that, all apps on Windows 8 run on full screen mode usually. Okay, this is the full screen mode. There are a couple of other modes we'll talk about. So what happens, let's say if I hit a start button, okay, or any other, like let's say I get another app, so this is the app coming back, like let's say I come back to another mode. The app which was running in the front actually goes back, right? So it's in deactivated state. So these are different types of state, and then when I again get that app back, so this is one way of getting back. And if you want to see what are there, what is there, what all the other apps are running, you can just do on the left hand side, you can just slash in front and then come get it back. You will see all the apps running. Okay, so I can come back from here, or I can just use a full screen, and I can get back to my application which is already activated in the background right now. For example, if I type the same app, I get to search it and I get the same app back. So this is again from deactivation to activation. So this is a basic flow of an application, and to kill that application I have to just get it swipe it from top down to the end. Okay, so that's killing an application, which means it's no more even in the background. Now coming back to this whole thing, so I talked about this basic scenario because I wanted to talk about activation here. So when we are on JavaScript, we have something called a set promise, which actually is activation for an application. So let's say I hit a breakpoint over there. Just wanted to show you a quick thing over here. So in terms of building an application, so debugging for debug mode. So you can either go ahead and hit the debug on the top and say start debugging, or you can just do F5, either way. So it takes me to a splash screen. The first screen which came was a splash screen, and take me back to the debugger. Right now, what is happening right now is that app is also not only going to build but also going to be installed on my Windows 8 environment. Okay, the operating system. So we'll see that quickly. So right now it's stuck. So I'll just go ahead and hit F5 to let go, and this is my app ready. Okay, this is a basic grid app, and a couple of things I want to show you. Windows 8 has a touch as a first-class citizen. So this is a touch-based machine. It's a Windows 7 machine, but it's a touch-based machine. And you can see I'm just using my monitor. In fact, I can just turn it down, and probably I can do this. Okay, I can move this. It's all ready. It's inbuilt. Okay, so touch is supported by default. And then not just that. So I can actually go ahead and jump into one of the common group area, and this is a basic template which is being provided. Now there are different types of apps which you can make. So not necessarily this is the one which you're going to stick to. So you can use a blank template as well. Depending on what kind of app you're making, you can choose the templates, or you can choose a blank template and decide your own flow. Okay, just want to show you that part quickly. So this works perfectly fine. There are a couple of other things in this app which is there. So for example, if I go to hit settings for this particular application, I have something as permissions defined. So if this app is going to use internet or not, or what kind of functionality. So this app has current functionality which says your internet connection. Okay, and we can set that with capabilities. So we have an application manifest, and using that manifest you can check what all functionality you want in this app. By default it will come here. So this is a flyout. It's already available. Now coming back and we will jump back. We'll come back to this in more detail. We'll discuss this. So I'll stop the debugging for now. And when I stop the debugging, it is just off. So let's go back to that app. Is that app already installed or not? We want to test it. So it's called Demo App 2. Let's search for that app, right? So when I do a demo App 2, this is the one which I built. It's already there. If I click on it, it will work as expected. Okay, by default, it's already there. Now, and I can close this app, and it has all the basic functionality available now. Okay, just by doing that, small build F5. We didn't do anything so far on this. Now, if I come back to this demo app, I have other options. I can actually unpin it or uninstall it from start. And if I would have used a tile, so there are different types of tiles. There's a large tile, small tile. So if I want to incorporate a larger tile, I can do that as well. So I'll just uninstall it for now, maybe, and come back to my desktop mode, maybe, and start with some of the tools. Talk about some tools. So let's say you don't have a Windows 8 touch-based kind of machine. Maybe you want to test your app. So we have something called simulator. Okay, which is going to be helpful for building apps for Windows Store style application. So this app is again going to run there. But right now I can see my code as well as I can see the output. Not just that, there are a couple of more interesting things which simulator provides. So for example, I can probably see the orientation. So is my app logged for landscape mode, or does it support horizontal mode or not? So that kind of thing we can test it from here. Okay, so even without having a tablet, we can actually test that. Not just that, we can also test our app for resolution. For example, we have a 27-inch tablet, probably. So how will the app look like over there? So, and in fact, this is expandable. So of course you can look into this in more detail. Okay, and and by default, if you choose a grid layout, it supports that. So I'll go ahead and come back to my current mode here. You also have something else, something called pinch and zoom. So pinch and zoom is something like this. Let me go back to my start screen. So something like this. It's called semantic zoom. Okay. So you can zoom in, zoom out, and you can enable that in your application. But it's not always good to enable this, because you don't want to do that with text especially. So you have an option of locking that as well. So this is about simulator, and let me go back to the code and do some more interesting things about Visual Studio. Yeah.
So the machine that you're using right now is supporting touch as well as a pointing device, is it?
No, it's not a pointing device. So we do have a pointing functionality on this, yes.
Yes.
But I'm not using a pointing.
Say for example, I'm developing an app for a laptop, and it would not have touch capabilities. So how would I simulate touch interfaces, or there would not be a touch sort of app store on a laptop?
So we can simulate touch with this. So
Mhm.
this is a mouse,
Mhm.
and this is a touch.
No, but say for example,
Basic touch mode.
I have a laptop which is not having touch capabilities.
Yeah, so with the simulator you can use this simulation. So this is a touch mode, right?
No,
now
but
it's
in
pointing.
actual laptop, if I install the app and use it myself as a consumer,
Yeah.
so then how would I interact with the app which is designed for touch? So I mean,
Not necessarily it will be designed for touch. So you can actually work both ways. So it is as good as touch, as good as
So as in the app will support both kind
Yes.
of
Yes.
interactions.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So we have like more to come. So we'll talk about that. So you need not have a touch-based machine to actually build the whole system, but it's definitely helpful to have that.
So do we see a lot of laptop machines which are going to come having touch
Capabilities.
Yes. So that is interesting part. So I don't know if you have attended that in the keynote you have mentioned.
Mhm.
70% of the hardware from Windows perspective is going to be refreshed across the globe.
Okay.
Across the globe, which means, and the numbers I'm going to talk about, some interesting figures I'll talk about a little later.
Okay.
Which
Thank
means
you.
we'll be reaching to a large audience.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for both HTML and XAML area, we have added a concept called pointer. So when you build an application, if you are building in XAML, you add the behavior. There's a mouse drag behavior. So what if that mouse is not there, let's say in a tablet, then you will be using your finger. Let's say it's in an older model device where you use stylus. So irrespective of the device you are using to interact with the application, you implement that API, and that API internally takes care of it. You don't have to take care.
So it abstracts the.
Correct. So it actually takes the pain out of you and decides on what to do based on the device you are using.
So I think then it's a very awesome step that Microsoft has taken in that case, because then that would be a really awesome strategy to be able to support the whole economy.
Yeah, and this is the spec we have recently submitted to HTML for this pointer API. It's already there in XAML. It's also available in HTML within the Windows 8 application development environment. You can use this API to build your application.
All right, thanks. So we'll jump to some more demos here. So I'm just taking the same example. We just built something over there. So I want to talk about DOM Explorer. So you would have used Internet Explorer, right, or any other. So especially in Internet Explorer, if you hit F12, you get to see the developer view, and you get to see the DOM Explorer. So what we have done is we have actually implemented that same thing, and with little more advanced features in the Visual Studio environment itself. Okay. So we'll jump into that. So this is something called DOM Explorer, okay? And when I hit this, I can see there's some option which comes as select element for me. So if I hit this select element and choose group title, okay, it points me to some location. I'll come back to the style and CSS thing. Let me just get back to DOM Explorer part. So what I see here right now, and see some interesting part which is happening now. I'm not compiling, I'm not going to compile the code at all. I just selected this group type. Hold on. I need to use the select tool. And what I've done is I'm just going to change, DOM. I'm just writing something. Okay. And I've not compiled the code, right? See the difference. It's all there. It's in the running app. You can test it live. And isn't it cool? And then, not just this, so coming to the stylus part, so CSS. And so this is a style, so all these styles may have been implemented or may not be. So this is a style. The trace style will tell you what are the styles which has been implemented for this app, okay? And then we have layouts. So now, we'll go back to the select tool, and I've actually misspelled it. DOM is DOM, not DOM, anyways. So I will select this one more time using the select, okay, element. That is selected now. So what I'm going to do is padding. So for example, Windows 8 has, when you're building apps with Windows 8, there's some design guidelines. One of the guidelines says that the left margin has to be 120 pixels. The reason why it's 120 pixels is because we are using that area to swipe, get other apps on the activation mode. So for example, if you do that, you're building HTML5 JavaScript app, it's very, very simple. So I just, need to, for example, padding, I'm just going to do, let's say 120, and you can see the change directly. Just move to 120 pixels from that side. So it's definitely easier, if you're building such kind of applications. Really, helpful for developers. With this, I'll just close this part, and quickly jump back to some of our decks and talk about some numbers as well. People will be interested to know about why you should be building apps for Windows 8 platform. So in this session, I really wanted to get that point. The next session onwards, it's all going to be more of demos. Okay, that's what it is going to be. So yeah. Yes.
That's why that simulator is running, or else even in Windows 7 I can simulate the same stuff.
Not
is
really.
it mandatory that I have to install Windows 8?
Yes. So if you are building Windows 8 app, it is definitely required to have Windows 8 because
Then what is the purpose of simulator? Once again, it is on the top of Windows 8.
Yeah, but the purpose of simulator is different. The point which I wanted to bring to you is that it simulates the whole operating system in an environment which is in front of you, right? Which you can code and see at the same time. You can, and I've shown you some other aspects of that. You don't have to.
Generally, the purpose of simulator is where we cannot have.
I think I can add to that. You can actually develop apps using a non-touch device, and the simulator will allow you to
Yeah, only
simulate
for
touch
touch
and
kind
other
of things we are.
No. It's not just touch. So I've shown you resolution. I've shown you orientation.
Yeah.
So all of that is there, right? Without a simulator, you can't do that. There's other things which are not shown. This, for example, location. So if I go back to that simulator, in fact, we'll come back to that. So you can use the location APIs and use the simulator. So the purpose of simulator is not to simulate, a different OS on a different environment. It's a different purpose altogether. You're not solving that purpose of having a Windows 7 operating system. See the difference. There is a completely new. So Windows 8 is actually reimagined Windows 8. Okay, the OS architecture has changed. It's not the same OS anymore. The underlying layer of the runtime is also changed. So it's no more just Win32 which is running at the core. It's called WinRT. The runtime is called WinRT. So it's a completely new a platform we have introduced, and this will enable. So you need to have a Windows 8 for sure, but then it will help you build apps very easily, not only for Windows 8 platform but also for Windows Phone 8 platform. You can have one single solution and two project types, but you can build projects once and have it have your app run on multiple platforms. That's the main intent.
What I expected from simulator is like, we can work on, if you take the Android itself, iOS itself, the simulator can, if you take Android, it can work on Windows
So that is the basic difference between the emulator and the simulator.
This
So
is
what
not
you
an
are-
emulator.
So what you are talking about is the emulator.
Yeah.
This is simulator. This simulates your own environment. So if you see the simulator, the desktop over there coming is your desktop. So for example, you are building an application in a desktop PC, not even laptop. You cannot rotate the screen, right? How do you check your application, how it looks like in a portrait mode? Maybe your desktop has got a fixed resolution, the highest maximum resolution. How you want to check that if it goes beyond that, it's a 27-inch monitor, how my application behaves to that. So those are the experiences it gives. So for example, your application is location aware. So you want to check if I carry my tablet to Chennai and I do something, is it actually capturing that location or not? So you carry your whole development machine to Chennai to test that? Don't want to do that, right? We have the location specific. You can point your location to that and it will give you the longitude and latitude and you can actually write code. So simulator gives you all these experiences. Even if you're not using touch device, then we have pointer over there which helps you to simulate that pinch, stretch and everything. So you can also feel the touch. So 99.99% of the development can be done in using the simulator. Few other stuff you may want to check in the actual hardware device while doing development. So I would request you to come once the session is over, try out the experience in the simulator, then you will feel the difference between the emulator and simulator. Okay.
Okay, cool.
It will get like if I want to continue with my 7 itself, then I can't develop apps.
Yeah, we'll take it offline. We'll take it offline. Okay. In the interest of time, I really request. So I have like a couple of t-shirts to give away as well. So let's have another set of questions. So yeah. So
One more question. Sorry.
yeah.
You have created this application with the use of HTML and JavaScript.
Yes.
So how is the body structure like? I mean, which format does it?
It's HTML.
So how is the body structure is following? Is it start from HTML?
So we will have a detailed description of that. You know, next session onwards we'll have that discussion. Okay. So another question, which is you know the platform. Okay. So what are the things you would require? You know, I need a raise of hand. What are the things you require to build an app for Windows 8 platform? Tell me the tools and the platform. Yeah, I saw the raise of hand first. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay.
Simulator to simulate.
Simulator by default comes in. Okay.
I think these two things.
And what are the platforms? Like
Platform.
development platform. Like for example, the language perspective.
JavaScript is there with CSS. You
Yeah.
have XAML with C# and C++.
Awesome. Awesome. So which color do you want?
I prefer the lighter one.
Black one?
Lighter one.
Lighter.
Yeah.
Thanks. So I have a couple of more. Definitely, I'll give more. And then in all the sessions which you're going to attend, we'll have more T-shirts. So even Riju and Raj is going to distribute more. So stay tuned. And this session is mainly the introduction kind of overview kind of session. The next session onwards is wherein we're going to deep dive, you know, do more of coding and demos. Okay. So coming back to some interesting parts. So this is something called PCL. So what we have done is introduce a portable class library, and this you can build using other. So what we have done is, if you're building an app with C# and HTML5 and JavaScript, you can also have a middle tier written in C# as well, you know, or C++ as well. So you can choose and write a mid-layer library called PCL, and this library can not only be used on a Windows 8 platform, but you can also use on Windows Phone 8 platform, right? So it's build once, compile once, use anywhere on any platform. Okay, I mean I'm talking about Windows platform, of course. So this is our new introduction which you can use. Coming back to some of the things which I want to talk about. In fact, better to demo it rather than showing it over there. So I'll open my favorite application one more time, which is Cocktail Flow. Okay, if I open this application again, so there are a couple of things. So one thing was searching for the app which is installed, right? And these things which have functionality which I'm talking about, you can actually code. You need to code that in your application to have it ready. So now I'm using a native search, which is this Charms is a native, Charm bar is a native bar for Windows 8. Now I'm having a native search. I want to search something within this application. For example, this application talks about some drinks. So maybe I'll just search for maybe tequila, I really don't know, if that is an app which is installed or if it is within an application. But I can, if I do a search over there, I can see that all different types of tequila are available for me. Okay, so this is one search. So this is called search contract. So you need to code that for your application. So when you're building an application, you need not have a different search altogether if you have to implement that. There are a couple of other things which I can do with this application. Yeah.
Same thing implies when you are searching from outside without the app in the
Yes, it does. So I will show that to you as well. So let me just close that. Good question, in fact, and I'll give you a T-shirt for that. It's a good question.
I prefer light.
Right one? Okay. Thanks. So interesting question. So I want to show this. Okay, I have this search bar, but then again, this is only acceptable or will be accessible if you have done coding, contract-wise. So here, if I go for search, there is an option here, right? You can see within apps. So search, I can search within apps. So if I search a tequila within app, I won't be able to find it. It's not there. But if I search from here, it will automatically pop up and it will automatically show it. So I've not opened that application, but it activates my application through search contract. Okay, so this is another mechanism of activating an application and search within. But this has to be coded. Yeah.
What if that same word is, exists in multiple apps, so it will open?
Yes, it will give you all options. So we can have, so another contract part is you list your apps in the charms. So this part where you can see this thing coming up, right, in the charms, this also has to be coded.
It will activate all that?
No, so it will give you options. You need to select that. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Searching for a keyword which I'm not sure which app will have a data for, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about a generic search,
Yeah.
right? So in this case, I need to click on this Prince app to see if tequila keyword makes sense here.
Yeah, if
So-
you are not sure of the apps, then you probably have to search first for the app, right?
Okay.
So you can do a search for the app. So there are 6 type of contract for apps.
Okay.
6 type of contracts which you can build for search.
Okay.
Okay. One is just typing in the search bar, it will take you for list of applications. The other one is within the in-app kind of search. One which you are talking about, for all the apps which are, so you can just list them over there. In the charms also you can list it.
Now let's say I've written a music app,
Okay.
right? And I'm typing Enrique as a keyword there,
Yeah.
right? So shouldn't the music app give me a search result automatically there that I hit Enrique and I have a song for that?
It will, but you have to code for that. So for example, there are other apps like Ghana.com, and there are multiple apps. So if I've installed multiple music apps and all of them have implemented, it will give me, list me options. If there's only one app, it will just start that app. Okay, the other thing is, this was one contract we talked about. Yeah.
You said when you search, the app is activated.
Yes.
So are you saying if the app is listed in that charms bar, whenever you search, whenever you input a query, all the apps are activated?
No. So if you have multiple apps, you will get an option to select.
Okay, so
If it is one app, you just
if it
activate.
is one app, it will launch.
Yeah. It will activate because I'm hitting that, right? I'm opening it.
No, I'm talking about while you input the query itself.
Right.
You're not clicking any apps. You
Yeah.
said when you input a query, your app got activated and it searched for the thing, and when you click it, it opened directly.
So what I have done here, did you see that? What I did was I actually, first of all, all my apps are listed in my charm bar.
Yes.
Okay. If it's all are listed, what I did was I specifically selected Cocktail Flow
Yes.
and then search. That's why it populated my Cocktail Flow application.
So when you
If-
click
so
on
there-
the app, it doesn't launch.
Yeah, it doesn't. So if I clicked on it,
Okay.
I actually clicked on Cocktail Flow and then did the search.
Okay,
First
could
of
you
all,
please show that again?
yeah. So I'll close this app. Okay. What I did was I did a search, and I'm not searching here. So what I did was I clicked on it. But as soon as I click, it just opens and then I'm doing a search. Right? It's opening there. So you need to. So one way of doing it is, first of all, when you're implementing a search contract for any keyword to list in the charms bar, you have to list that app icon in the charms bar. So this is another way of programming. First of all, you need to do that. Then it will. Okay. Now coming back to other contract types. In fact, let me just open that app one more time. Yeah.
How to select 2 or 3 apps at a time?
You can do 2 or 3 apps
Means,
app selection.
If you said that if the particular keyword is
The particular keyword is existed in 2 or 3 apps, it will give
It will give you an option, set of options. You need to select which one you want to choose as a user, right?
Yes, it will go internally and then gives the options.
Yeah. So all the installed apps it will look for.
But when you type the tequila, it didn't give that one, right?
I'm sorry?
So it is a cocktail application.
Yeah.
So if you type tequila,
Yeah.
so it will directly give this application.
No, what I did was I actually selected that application and then did an in-app search.
Yes, in-app search. That's what I'm asking.
So that would be a different kind of context in which you are talking about, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, in the interest of time, I am really sorry. I have like couple of things to cover. We will
Okay.
take it offline. Okay?
Okay.
We have some break as well, and we are also there in the booth. Microsoft booth is there. We'll take time, So let me show some more features, interesting features. Okay. So we have something called share contract as well. Now this share contract, and right now for this app it is not implemented, but you can actually do. There are two types of share contract. One is share target and share source. So for example, if you're building an app, which is a game kind of application, or maybe just a competition kind of application, and you want to share something from your app. Let's say you make a high score, right? And this is where your app sells more, because if you add something like a competitiveness, it is more like a stickiness. People come back to get more score, right? Something similar to that. So if you are building something like that, you would like to share that thing. So this, you have to implement shared contract. So you can actually implement shared contract and share the whole app page data as a screen, as an image, or take text out of it and share it across other apps, which is there, through shared source. And if the vice versa is called shared target. So if you want to get something from other app into your application, you can implement shared target. Okay, that could be a scenario wherein you're learning something and you want to get something from other application. You can also implement that. So learning kind of software usually have that kind of functionality. Okay, so that's contract. Yeah. So coming to other things, coming back to the slide deck, I talk about activation and search integration. I already did a demo. Now I want to talk quickly about the store part. So okay. So question for a T-shirt again, and please raise your hand. So this is two part associated to it. So how many devices do you think are there for Windows platform? How many people uses Windows devices across the globe? A rough estimate number. The closest one I'll give the T-shirt. So I saw the first hand there. Yeah.
690 million.
I think you've seen the deck. But anyways, I'll give it to you. It's 690 million. I was talking about Windows 7. No, Windows. Anyways, I think you have seen the deck. I'll give it to you and I'll ask more questions, so probably definitely. So which one do you want? Okay, cool. So we have like 690 plus on Windows 7 platform, and the other question for which I can give you a T-shirt is that number more or less as compared to other platform?
More.
Okay. Yeah, so for that you need to be there. We'll definitely have enough T-shirts to give it to everybody, but you need to answer questions as well. And okay. So the interesting fact is, in fact, okay, that was covered in the keynote, I think, right? Okay, cool. So if you just look at the number, you combine the Android platform or the iOS platform, combine them together, even then the number on Windows platform is higher. And I just mentioned, okay, let me just ask that question again. How many, and please raise your hand, please, okay, otherwise it's difficult for me. So, what is the percentage of refresh we are going to get? Okay. What is the percent of hardware refresh we are going to get? The last person raised the hand. I mean, you have already got a T-shirt, so your number will come.
70%.
Okay, yeah, correct. So, I'll give it to you later. Just hold on for a second. I'll ask another question. I'll give it to you. So, which color do you want?
Light.
Can you give that? So 70% of the hardware is going to refresh. So you can imagine the number we are going to target and reach, to the number of people who are going to use Windows 8 platform. So it's going to be huge. This is 70% of the total PC. So OEM manufacturers. So OEM manufacturers who are going to build the new PCs, right? The PC. It's not a prediction. It is a committed number. It's a committed number. It's not a prediction. Okay. So October 26 onwards, you will see or even even in India, we will have different OEMs selling laptops and tablets, of different form factors in India, starting on next Friday, actually, 26th. So store, and I really wanted to take. I have like very few minutes left. I think 7 minutes. So I quickly wanted to. I will come to you. I'm sorry. So I'll come to you. So quickly want to show you. So couple of features about Windows 8. A lot of analytics has been added. So we got a lot of feedback, throughout last year based on Windows Phone 7 experience. So a lot of new analytics have been added. You have again ratio of 30/70 initially when you submit your app on the store. But then we are giving you flexibility. You can increase that. So if your app is downloaded more and you earn more money, it could actually turn out to be 20/80, which means we keep 20%, you keep 80%. Okay, and the search part, since I'm introducing the store quickly to you, so we have a store app, and this store app works really well in the sense it just not spotlight, so not only focuses. So you can see the spotlight app here, right? There is a certain set of bar which your app needs to meet to be spotlighted here, and there is an algorithm behind it. It's not just manual thing done. But we can share you those data. If you come back to our store booth over there, we can talk to you, give you pointers in terms of how you can make your app, really good to be at the spotlight. So different categories are there in the store. This is not. This is global. This is global.
For Indian market, I don't have anything like Indian app specific.
I can share that data with you. I'm an evangelist for India, so I can share that data. But see, when you are building an app, never target an app for a country. I'll tell you the reason. So you should always target an app for global market. You have like billions of users.
My app might be only useful in India.
That's okay. You can always do that.
It might be for the BMTC process, right? So I can't target it globally.
Right. And you are actually building a BMTC app. Let me tell you.
So like basically the market, if it is global, and let's say I'm targeting a BMTC app only, that's what he is building,
Yeah.
right? My potential customer is how much? Like 10 lakhs to 1 crore?
Could
And
be,
It will
could be.
never reach that number which will highlight this, right?
So we have something as a highlight functionality, and to market that, our team is dedicated to that. So we also help in marketing your app, different channels, not necessarily on the spotlight, but we have like MSDN channel. We have our own social networking channel through.
So like other app stores like Android, iOS, which have country specific stores, you don't have that control.
As of now, no. As of now, no.
Yeah, the search from your search from whether this
Yes, yes. So other thing is, let's say if I want to search my app, I can directly search from the app onto the store app. So if I have to search for an app, for example, there is one of my partner in Pune who built a doodle-doo kind of game. So if I do a search, I can do all kind of different search. All the apps which has doodle keyword in that, and this is the doodle god which they made. My partner made in Pune, and
short by this countries are not there.
country is not required. I mean,
So if your machine's regional setting says you are in India, then the first search homepage
will come for only Indian applications like ICICI Direct. Yes. So if based on your computer's regional setting, so you can change it anytime. So let's say your computer setting by default comes US, you change it to India. What you need to do, you need to go to Task Manager, shut down the store application which is running, open it again, then it will start popping up from the India perspective. So that's how you can change if you are specific to India as well. Otherwise, it's global.
okay, cool. So let me quickly give you a resource which you can get use to get started and build. So what I've done is I've actually did a comprehensive links and resources kind of document. So 21-page document. So if you go to blogs.msdn.com, sorry, I just typed in.
why don't you tweet it about it with using the JS tool?
I will do that. In fact, so I'll also tweet
So
it about.
we'll tweet that link.
I will. Let me just.
JS tool. So you can just follow and then get the link downloaded.
Yeah. So just want to show you what is there. Quickly, 2 minutes are left.
So yeah, we'll be sharing that in #JS2. It's a bigger link because it comes in a blog, right? If you can note it down, you can go ahead and note it down. But otherwise, it will be easier for you to get it in the Twitter.
So it's blogs.msdn.com/ujwalk, UJJWLK, and there is a link which is called Comprehensive Links and Resources for Building Apps on Windows 8. And this is what you get. So you can download a 21-page document, and this document, initially, the first 2 pages, you have all the download links and resources for getting started. So Windows 8 operating system itself, the Visual Studio environment, and the SDK and so on. And then you get to see, getting started with different types of, different languages and platforms we talked about, like JavaScript and C# and so on. So you can use that as well. After that, this is the most interesting part. So what I've done is I've given, from concept to ideas. So for example, if you have some concept and ideas, how to begin with building app for Windows 8, right? So we have some idea books, really interesting idea books. For example, we have categorized into a productivity app, game, entertainment, or news kind of app. So you can actually go through this. This is a very nicely written documentation on MSDN, which explains you how to start with your layout, what kind of design you should use, what kind of things you should implement in your code, and so on and so forth. So that is there. Then what I've done is from concept idea, I've taken step by step. So for example, app lifecycle. If you want to understand app lifecycle in more detail, I've given that whole link here. But there's not just link. We also I've given the code samples. Okay. So for example, splash screen. How you can change the splash screen which came up, right? So how you can change the app settings. So this charms bar, right? If you want to have an app there and you want to add your own, privacy policy and so on and so forth, how you can implement that code. I've given all the code references over here. Okay. So this is going to be really helpful if you are beginning or if you're already there. Yeah.
What is the developer fees for
Store developer fees is independent developer fees is $49, and as a company it is $99. But if you are committed to build more than 3 apps, you can always contact me there. We can work out something. That you don't have to pay probably.
Will this work in RC1?
There is no RC version. So now the latest. Okay. So question for T-shirt. What is the current version of Windows 8? Okay. I've given a T-shirt already.
I'll answer it anyway.
No. I want others to get the T-shirt. So probably, yeah. It's actually RTM. So let me give it to you. Okay. So it's a RTM version. That's the last question for Maya. I'm sorry, but there will be more people who are delving sessions. So you'll get more T-shirts as well. So quickly want to cover this. You have animation, input techniques, everything in whatever is required to build an app is there in this whole documentation. With that, I'll conclude my talk. And thanks for patience. And if you have further questions, you're most welcome. Yeah, I can take your last question.
Yeah. So Flash or object elements, does it support?
So IE does support Flash, but you can't build application for Flash on Windows 8 platform. So if you have existing Flash, IE 10, which is part of Windows 8, will support Flash.
So does it support video tag or object element?
From HTML5 perspective, yes, but not as a Flash code. Okay. With that, I'll conclude. Thanks for your patience, and I hope you got something new out of this session. So
you can take more questions. I think I need a laptop.
okay.
What is the app submission process, and normally how many days it will take to approve?
Okay, that's a good question. Again, I'll give you a T-shirt. You have not received a T-shirt, right? So this is an interesting question. So earlier we have had only 5 days, as a service level agreement. It has been increased to 7 now. So if you are building an app and you have submitted for certification on the store, you would it will be about 7 business days, US business days, when your app would be certified. So what we are doing is not just telling you if, let's say, it fails, for example. So we are not just telling that it is failing in the store, but we are also giving you a specific reason why it is failing, pointing to that particular reason, and we are also giving you tools to fix that. So we are telling you how you can fix it. And you still are stuck, then I am the point of contact. I work and in fact Raj is there. So Raj is the main Windows 8 evangelist. I'm a Windows Phone evangelist, but I also work on Windows 8. So you can always contact us. We'll help you out. So I'll give you a T-shirt for that.
Yeah. In fact, there is a self-help tool, certification test toolkit, which comes along with the SDK, which you can use to pre-test your application before you submit it to them, right? Which means that the general capability and all these settings, whether you have done, it will tell you through that test kit. And once you are okay with that, it passes, everything is right, you can actually go ahead and submit it. Then it's up to the store to decide on if you have used any copyrighted images, anything which is proprietary, and all this different other testing will happen over there.
Yeah. I'll take.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, please go.
are there pretty strict guidelines to get your app on the store? Like with iOS, I mean, it goes through a pretty rigorous test as opposed to Android, where almost anyone can put an app up. What are the tests like for?
Sure,
you know,
great.
Microsoft Store?
Great, good question. And in fact, I have already documented that here. So let me just quickly go back to this. So we have something called app certification requirement. Okay, in this documentation itself, if you go and click this, so we have listed everything out there with pointers. Okay, so this is all pointed out in terms of, for example, what you should be providing from content perspective, for performance perspective, from the privacy policy perspective. Everything end to end is documented. Okay. Yeah.
Just a follow-up question. You said the SDK comes with the certification tool.
Yes.
Now, does this check for a lot of those things, or just
Some of those, not all of those. So content cannot be tested, from automated tool, but we test for performance. So this is called Windows Activation Certification Kit, WAC, and WAC will also be coming, when you install. In fact, for the ARM-based devices, you don't even have to install, SDK for that. It comes by default, so you can test it over there. Yeah, it's on. Yeah. I'm sure there will be many more questions. Yeah, please.
The apps, and then you can see the source code of the JavaScript and CSS which other developers have written. Have you guys done anything to decrypt to basically kind of whatever apps you are creating to encrypt the JS in a way that which cannot be easily written?
I think Raj is the best person to answer that. He's just going to be there. So on the stage, you got the question, right?
Yes, I got it.
Decryption. So he will be answering that question.